Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, August 27th, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, today, as always, we celebrate a great number of things. Some people say that today they celebrate the 7 joys of the Blessed Virgin Mary. That's great, always worth celebrating. The Abbot Orsini tells us that they celebrate Notre Dame de Mustia, that's 8 or 10 leagues from Sisteron, France, in the direction of Marseille. Directions which are probably not particularly helpful for you if you don't know where Sisteron is, or leagues, or Marseille. But in any event, an ancient tradition records that a lord of the country, captured by the Turks, made a vow to build a chapel in honor of the Blessed Virgin if she were pleased to deliver him. The Blessed Virgin heard his prayer. An angel took him on his wings and carried him back to his country, and of course the nobleman erected a magnificent chapel to our Blessed Lady, where numerous miracles are wrought. Today we also celebrate the Holy Mother in Nisene Boltrone in Irsava Zarkapatia in Ukraine. Okay, so this is interesting here. On August 27th, 2002, recently, 2 girls, Olena Kuruc at the age of 10 and Mariana Kobel at the age of 9, went to go get water at a spring in the Carpathian foothills of western Ukraine. As one was drawing water, the other shouted, "Look who's behind you." They saw a beautiful white lady standing on a flower-strewn hovering cloud. Frightened, thinking that it was a witch, the girls hurried home with their water, but the lady accompanied them on her floating cloud. On hearing the story, Olena's parents scolded her, but Mariana's father, Petro, who was a Greek Catholic priest, cautioned them to make the sign of the cross if they saw the apparition again. By the way, if they're Greek Catholic, they can get married before they're ordained, so it's not scandalous that he has a daughter. That evening, when the girls went to go get Olena's little sister from kindergarten, the lady on the cloud reappeared, making the sign of the cross herself after they did. Thus reassured that she was not an evil spirit, they asked her name, and she answered that she was the Virgin. The girls began seeing and conversing her with every day. She asked that their parents go pray at the countryside spring, and that Father Petro tell the bishop about the apparitions. And he did. Right, so the bishop traveled to the village, questioned the girls in his car, and requesting that they ask the lady for a sign. Right, so after speaking with her on the spot, they answered that the greatest sign was that the people were flocking to the spring to pray. That's very good. Happy with this reply, the bishop conducted the first liturgical service there on August 31st, only 4 days after the apparitions began. But the bishop died a year later, and so other church authorities were dubious. Right. However, after the seers visited John Paul II at the Vatican in 2003, and following successful negotiations with a supportive monk, I don't know what that means, the hierarchy relented, allowing the building of a church complex and monastery at the site. Meanwhile, there were miracles, right? Pilgrims also saw Our Lady, as well as solar phenomena, a large clot bled, lapsed believers returned to the Greek Catholic practice, etc., etc. Mariana stopped seeing apparitions, but we're told that Olena continued to meet often with pilgrims and reported frequent meetings with the Mother of God. The shrine hosts pilgrimages on the 27th of each month, with fireworks on the apparition date, August 27th. And then also today we celebrate Madonna de Prascandu in Ribordone in Turin, Piedmont, Italy. This commemorates an apparition in 1619, but now there's a huge shrine there, right? This is towards northern Italy, towards the border with France, right? So the shrine of Prascandu is at a height of 1,321 meters high, and it was built in 1620 as a result of a miracle that took place, an apparition that took place the year before, right? The feast of the shrine is actually August 27th, right? And it's linked to this well-documented and officially recognized event that took place on August 27th, 1619, to a young boy. It says Ribordonese, which means he's from the town of Ribordone, Giovannino Berardi, right? So she appeared to him, asking him to fulfill a pilgrimage vow to Loreto, right? Which was a vow that his father had made some time earlier, so that his son could require speech, which he had lost the year before. Upon returning from Loreto, Giovannino reacquired his speech, and so that was such a huge thing. Yes, and so they that verified the miracle that he had actually seen Our Lady, and so because of that, they built the first shrine, a little chapel, near the site where he said he had seen Our Lady. So then they built a bigger chapel for the apparition, again between 1620 and 1621, and then now it's actually been replaced throughout time as time goes on with actually a pretty huge shrine. Looks very beautiful. Had never heard of it before, but sounds like it's an interesting place to visit. So that's what we're celebrating today in the Marian world on August 27th. For today's Marian meditation, taken from the book by Father Ildefonso Villar, we will read the second point of Meditation 69, entitled The Solitude of Mary. And this point is called the Holy Burial. Those pious men, Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea, together with the holy women and our Holy Mother, prepare to anoint the holy body. Watch that operation, and see how lovingly and delicately they cleanse those wounds and anoint them with balm and perfume. Perhaps Our Lady reserved for herself the task of washing and anointing the holy head. She herself would cover that divine face with fine linen. What a sorrow for her, as she cast the last glance on that face she knew so well. How often in ecstasy she had watched it. The body is now taken to the sepulchre. Join you the sad procession, which for the last time accompanies the body of Jesus. How sad it is when we must abandon the dead body of some beloved person. When we take it from home to the last dwelling, our hearts well nigh break. How long, and at the same time how short, is the journey to the cemetery? While on one hand we would like to arrive as soon as possible, and to put an end at last to all the sad ceremonies, on the other we dread the arrival of that moment of total separation, of the last goodbye. What would be the suffering of the heart of our Mother at that moment? The body is laid in the sepulchre. The stone slowly rolls down and hides the holy body. How can we explain what takes place in the soul of Mary? Now she is alone, utterly alone, without her Son. She cannot tear herself away. She cannot possibly live without him. Do not be in a hurry to move away from there. Linger a little while. Remain before the sepulchre of Jesus in the company of that Virgin who is your mother. Think of that tomb, the end of all earthly things. Jesus wanted to undergo this humiliation that at our death it might be our comfort and example. But no, death is not humiliating when it is like the death of Christ. Nor is the sepulchre, even if our body is eaten up by worms, provided we are similar to our Master. Glorious is the death, and happy is the sepulchre of the saints. Remember, moreover, that you daily bear Jesus in your heart, and they wanted his tomb to be new and clean, a spot where no one save himself had been placed. Ponder over these circumstances, and see that your heart must be like that sepulchre of Jesus. Examine if Jesus can find in it those perfumes of virtue symbolized by the ointments which scented his body. He wants them in your heart also. Ask Our Lady to make up for your miserable poverty. Ask her to teach you how to keep Jesus in your heart all your life long, so that you are never deprived of his presence.
If you found this video fruitful, please feel free to share it with a friend or family member. Or if you would like to learn more about our missionary priests throughout the world and how to support them, please visit iveamerica.org. Thank you for watching, and God bless.